Hey guys, I hope that you're having a really good day today and I hope that you are being kind to yourselves. Yeah, I just think that we need to go easy on ourselves, especially nowadays. Like, things are so stressful and just a bit mental that we need to just be a little bit kinder to ourselves. So I hope that you are doing that. Now, I just want to quickly say, you might have noticed the last video I uploaded was a build challenge video. I want to try and introduce build challenges back into my channel because I have so much fun doing them, and I think it's nice to have something just to sit back and laugh over and just have a good time. So I hope that you guys enjoy those challenges too, because I really, really do enjoy doing them. I think it's a really good way to just de-stress. And just get myself ready for the next few days, But every Sunday will be a speed build video, the same as normal. And today we have this speed build. Now, I say this all the time that I have a lot of fun building them, but I actually do. I love building in The Sims, but I really like building these because you'll see we've got 4 different houses on this lot, and each one has a different style inside. So it was fun to explore that, but the idea I had in my head starting this was I wanted these 4 houses and they were all going to be a different colour, and that was going to be the kind of theme of this build, is having these different pastel coloured houses. And what I did was inside I carried that colour scheme through to the interior, but also I added some personality and stuff like that. So you'll see I've made them each a different colour, and I think they look really cute. I think it works really well for the Sims 4 aesthetic as well, because it's that cartoony, cute sort of look. So I think they fit really well into the game. And yeah, like I say, I carry the colour schemes into the interior. Oh, you'll see here. So this house is the first one, and it's the greenhouse. So you'll see there's lots of green and stuff inside, but then also there's loads of different personality, because I always like to create a story when I'm building something. Well, it depends what I'm building. Most of the time, if I'm building a house, I like to have a story behind it so I know kind of how to style it. And I have a story kind of for each of these houses, so I thought I would tell you about them just so you can kind of see the personality that I have in them. So this house is actually, I imagined it belonging to 2 ladies and their daughter, and I imagine this family being the stereotypical perfect family, because they're both in love, they're both successful in their careers, they have great social life, they have a wonderful daughter, and yeah, they're just a really happy, loving family. And I think this house really shows it. I put loads of clutter, and I had a lot of fun putting all this clutter and just making it feel like a really nice, welcoming space. I can imagine this is the kind of space that their daughter brings her friends home from school almost every day, and her friends love coming to this house because it's just such a happy place, and it just makes me smile thinking about a place like this. And I also really like the layout I did for this. I didn't have many options because it's a pretty standard little house, but I do like the kind of way I laid things out. All of the kitchens in the houses are at the back. I kind of carried that through as the style that the house was built in, because these I think were more traditional houses that have been renovated over time. So this one's reasonably modern actually. I used the parenthood cabinets that I do think look a little bit more traditional, but in a stylistic way, when people do their kitchens but they do it as country chic, that sort of thing, where it doesn't look really sleek and modern, but it is a new kitchen. So I imagine this place has just been freshly renovated, or at least reasonably recently. But I like it. It has a lot of light actually, this one, because it has all the windows on the side as well, whereas the 2 middle properties don't really have any windows on the side. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them have one upstairs on the side, just to bring in a little bit extra light. But I thought it seems really weird having windows going straight out onto the wall of the next house. I know some houses have that, but I didn't think it worked right. I also included laundry in this build. Now, laundry is not something I include very much in my builds, because I like playing with laundry, but I think it gets a little bit overwhelming because there's just laundry all the time. But I really liked including it. I feel like these houses just seem really normal people houses. They seem like a genuine house you would find in real life, rather than a lot of my builds in The Sims. I build really expensive houses, or just really colourful and cartoony sort of houses. I know these are quite colourful and stuff, and would you genuinely find a row of houses that look like this? Maybe not, it's not that common, but inside the houses do feel really nice and normal, and I like that. I think that's cool to play with as well. But yeah, I put this desk area up here. I was just playing around with my furnishing style for this build, and I think that's why I had so much fun with it, because if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know I often say I don't really clutter my builds, although having said that, recently I've been cluttering my builds quite a lot, because I haven't been having fun, just kind of messing around with it really, and exploring. But I do wish we had more clutter items, because I very quickly run out. Like, I used that stack of books over and over and just changed from the 3 swatches. But yeah, you very quickly run out of clutter items, which is a shame. But regardless, I had fun doing it. I played around with having a lot of shelves in these builds. In all of them, I kind of put some shelves here and there. But I think it's nice to have, like, they're either used as like a display shelf or, you know, they're actually storage and stuff. And it just looks nice and genuine. So, yeah, I had fun. And you'll see we're in this kid's bedroom. This is their daughter's bedroom here at the front. And I put a little desk area with some clutter again, having fun with that. And it's just a nice happy space. She's got the front room, so there's lots of light comes in here. And you know what? I think it looks really nice, like, because you see when I built it, I have almost like a faux street that these houses are on, because I wanted it to be kind of like you have to come off the main road onto, like, it's like a driveway to all the properties, but it's also kind of a road, if that makes sense. Because I had in my mind I wanted to have the cars parked up the side of it, but I didn't actually make the road wide enough to have all the cars parked up the side of it, so they're just kind of, you'll see I make like a little driveway and stuff for one of the cars, so it's more of like a path that the cars can drive up and park at the sides, but yeah, anyway, here I am. You can see I'm just popping loads of like personalization and clutter and stuff, which I love. All the stuff that comes with the Seasons pack and Parenthood, like, because they just add to having like this kid living in the space and creating all these arts and crafts sort of things, and I think that really does transform a space. But you see I'm doing again with another shelf with some decorative stuff, some storage, and here we are doing a little bit landscaping. I cut out quite a lot of the landscaping because I just felt like it got a little bit samey. I didn't do like, well, I say I didn't do that much, it's probably quite a lot. It's not much for me, but probably quite a lot for some other people. But you'll see here we have like, it's like a faux street going up on the front of those houses. And then just here is like a little parking space for this first house. Although this area changes ever so slightly because I move all of the buildings over to the edge of the lot, so this area is a little bit bigger, so I can put like a little swing set kind of tiny little garden space here, because that's the thing on this, unless you put them on a bigger lot and make back gardens, I didn't give them any garden space other than, like I say, the little swing set you'll see just at the side here. This is us making it bigger. It's a tiny little space, but yeah, I just made the decision deliberately because I kind of imagined these would be houses you'd find in a city maybe, so they don't have a lot of outdoor space. So yeah, that's what I did. So you could always move them to a bigger lot and make back gardens or something if you wanted, or making a big like park on the lot would be kind of nice, like a play park sort of area with some picnic benches and stuff. But yeah, here you see I'm trying to find a space, and that's when I realised it wasn't wide enough to have the car parked at the side and make it look like a car could fit past, so I make a little driveway in here. So technically it's laid out like there's spaces for 3 of the houses to have a parking space. So I worked that into my story. But yeah, we're just decorating this front terrace bit of this first house, and we'll move on to the second house in just a second. But you'll see I kind of carry the colour scheme throughout each of them. Like I say, like this one is the pink one, and I think either the first one or the second one is my favourite house. So either the green one you saw, the blue green one, or this pink one is my favourite. Not because I would live in either of them. I mean, actually, I think I might live in the first one. I mean, to be honest, they're both nice, so if I got the choice, I probably would live in one of them. But like, they are a little bit cluttered for me personally. But I do like the look of them. They just look more like my style. But yeah, here you'll see I created this little like makeup and hair station area just because I feel like a lot of my friends and stuff, when they have their own place, they often have like a makeup area set up in like their living room or something, because that's where they get the best lighting or something, you know, more than their bedroom. So I thought I could play into that and have that little corner there, because I think it just added to having this like cozy space. Because they are all like quite, I mean, they're narrow rooms, but because they have a high ceiling, they feel large. So I wanted to create like more of a cozy atmosphere in the spaces. Although you will see one house doesn't have that cozy atmosphere. But yeah, this house, I kind of imagined this was like an 18-year-old, and their parents are quite wealthy, so they're like either bought this house and they let their daughter or their son live in it. But I kind of imagined it being a girl, because I imagined her being like a makeup guru or wanting to be a makeup guru, and yeah, so I kind of thought like maybe her parents bought this house and they let her live in it, or maybe they're paying the rent for her, because I wanted to have kind of like maybe a mixture of rented and owned houses here. I mean, I know obviously we can't do that, although I'd love to be able to rent houses in The Sims because that's so realistic to me. But yeah, so I thought maybe her parents could own it or pay for it anyway, and then she's living out here. But yeah, I like this kitchen actually. I really like what I did with it. You'll see on the other wall I put like a whole stretch of breakfast counter and units and stuff, and I just think it looks really cool. I did try and make every lot different. I mean, they're all laid out pretty much the same. They have the living space at the front and the kitchen kind of dining space at the back, but having said that, each of their living spaces are completely different, and each of their kitchen dining spaces are completely different, as well as bedrooms and everything. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making them each like a completely personal taste. It was just fun to imagine the people or the Sims that might live here. There I am using the exact same 3 piles of books. I do like that. Is such a good clutter object, but there is only one of it. I mean, there's the one where it's like an actual stack the other way, but I like those ones. They look a little bit more organised, and I like organisation. But yeah, you'll see I use those little bricks as well. I put them on the outside of the builds, and I actually really loved them, so I put them on the inside too, to bring in that sort of more traditional feel. But I had fun just putting clutter and everything on the walls, especially as it's the medium wall height, so like I could make use of above the doorways, I could put clutter, and you'll see I do fairy lights here, and in some of the other builds you'll see I've done stuff, like in the first one, I don't know if you saw, I put I think this base game, it's like a barista shelving display bit, or maybe it came with Get Together, I can't remember. I put that above the bathroom door, and I just think it's nice to have, it gives it more of like a loft sort of feel, I think, to have stuff like up higher above. If I had the tool mod, I would put stuff like, I don't know, like a bike or something up on the wall, but I am not, I don't know if I'm ready to jump into the tool mod yet. It seems very confusing to get used to, but it is an amazing mod. Like the stuff people can do with them, it's really impressive. But here we are in the bedroom, and I'm just cluttering again. Yeah, I had fun putting like boards and signs and stuff everywhere. It's like a personal thing. I don't know. I haven't really done that before, but I just think it gave a nice like look to it. I just think that looks cool. It looks realistic. That's what I think I had so much fun with, is that all these spaces look realistic, and I like that. It was a nice change, I think. But yeah, I styled this like, there's the bedroom here, and then there's a back room that, because I kind of imagined her being like a beauty guru or something like that, I thought maybe she could make YouTube videos, or maybe she just like, I don't know, does a lot of research or something. So I gave her like an office space for her to work from. I didn't put the video station from Get Famous in, which, you know, would work if you played in this house and you wanted them to make YouTube videos as something. I mean, obviously they don't need to be a beauty guru if they live here. That's just who I had in mind when I was furnishing it. But yeah, I didn't put that in because I liked the way I do like the desk area. You'll see it in a minute. I liked the way I did that, and I couldn't do that with the station from Get Famous because I was able to add a bit more clutter and stuff with this one. But yeah, I used high tables from university, which I thought was just a bit different for the office to have these high tables instead of like a normal lower one. So that I just thought it was quirky. It was a bit different. Yeah, pretty much this whole build is just me experimenting. And I like the way it turned out, but it might not be for everyone, and I understand that. But I do think it would give like a lot of fun gameplay, because you could have your Sims live here. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be realistic in the fact they'd have to pay a lot of money to buy this lot, but you could have just one one family live in one of the houses and you can just pretend they have neighbours. Or you could have all your different Sims live in these different houses and play the story that they're all neighbours. You know, there's options. But I think it's quite good for gameplay like that. I think it would be fun because I would really love to have like apartments in the sense that they're like semi-detached homes or just a few homes on one lot and you rent them, or, you know, that sort of thing. I like that because to me that is really realistic. In the UK, we have loads of semi-detached houses or row homes, things like that. So I really wish we had that. We had that in The Sims 2. We had like, there was one apartment, I remember it was like 2 semi-detached houses basically, and I used to always play in that. I can't remember if we had it in The Sims 3. Wait, we could make our own apartments in Sims 3 though, right? Or maybe I'm completely misremembering that. But yeah, here is the third home. Basically, I had in mind for this house is the lady that lives here. She bought this house because she was moving closer to her family because she moved away for work, and finally her work she could come back and live closer to them. So she got this house and she had in mind the spare bedroom upstairs is a twin bedroom, and she thought her nephews could come stay because she lives close to them, but her work took over her life and it meant that she doesn't really see her family anymore. She just works, that's all she does. So her house is just like, it's just a little bit bland, you know, like I get the impression that she maybe doesn't spend much time here because she's in the office or whatever. Like I kind of imagine she does business of some kind, or maybe she's a lawyer or something that's very time consuming. Yes, I don't think she spends a lot of time here, but you can see she clearly has money. She has like nice appliances and like a nice house. It's just that it's not very homely. But I liked having that, just that one odd house that's completely different to the rest. But I do think each house is completely different, and I liked exploring these different stories. But yeah, this is the bedroom upstairs that she maybe imagined that she could have her nephews come and stay with her all the time, but it just kind of lies empty because they don't come because she's too busy all the time, which is really sad. I feel like that's like the plot for like a film or something, like a Christmas film, where they're like a workaholic and then something happens, some sort of magic happens, and I don't know. It just seems like a Christmas film. And then they learn like work isn't everything. Family's more important, and they're changed forever because of the Christmas magic. But yeah, here, this was a really big space. I wasn't sure about this floor plan. So I decided to make this one giant room because I thought, well, she lives alone. Like she could live with having this big room, and she's probably renovated it. It's all a bit more modern. It just feels more modern. So I imagine she's probably renovated the floor plan. So I thought she could have this big room, and I did think about walling it off slightly to have the wardrobe as a separate space, but because of where the windows were, it was just it made things a bit awkward. So I decided, why not just have a giant room? Maybe she loves all of her business clothes. So I just made a massive wardrobe space in her room. That was interesting. But here we are on the last house. Now, this house I really enjoyed doing. This house I decided to make student accommodation of some kind. So I kind of imagine that it's like a private tenancy sort of thing, like a private landlord that owns this place and they rent it out to some students. So it's very typical in the UK. I mean, this is generalising here, but as a student, you could be taken advantage of by your landlord because either, you know, they don't follow through with stuff that they're meant to follow through with in accordance to maybe living standards or whatever. So I kind of imagined that it's a bit grungy, it's not really looked after, but they're students, so like it's cheaper, they can't really complain. And then also like there's just like you'll see I put a bunch of signs and stuff because when I was living in student accommodation, I lived in like, it wasn't like a private lease, it was an actual student accommodation place, so it was a big like tower block kind of thing, and I lived in my flat and we each had our own bedroom and our own ensuite, and then we had the shared kitchen, living, dining space. And honestly, like one of my flatmates, he used to party all the time, and he'd have so many flat parties. Like I'd be in my room in the evening studying or something, and suddenly I'd hear hordes of people coming in to the flat, and I'd be like, what's going on? And you'd hear them like getting really drunk to God knows what hour in the morning, and like falling against my bedroom door and like slamming around in the hallway and stuff. And honestly, it stressed me out so much because the amount of times I came through in the morning and there'd be like broken plates, or one time there was a knife sticking in the wall, like clearly they played darts or something with this massive kitchen knife. And there'd always be the random signs that they'd found and brought back, or cones and things like that. So I put those signs and stuff just because it made me think of that. But yeah, my my student life living experiences were interesting. I didn't like living in that flat just because he always had parties. Honestly, like almost every day of the week there was some sort of get together in our flat, and he would never tell us. It would just happen and the place would be a mess. But then my second year out, I ended up getting a private flat with my best friend, so that ended up being a better living situation in some senses, but also like our landlords were not great, so our living conditions were really, really bad. Like, they had no insulation in our flat. Like, we were on the very top floor, so we were in the eaves, and our window frames were wooden and they were all like rotten, so like my window frame was literally falling apart, and like I say, there was no insulation. I literally had water running down my walls in the winter because it was so cold. And yeah, it was just absolutely horrible to live in. It was so cold. Like, I had the little oil-filled radiator next to my bed, and I would literally sit in my bed under the duvet with the oil-filled radiator right there anytime that I was in the flat. And then otherwise I'd obviously be fine and I'd be out. But I try and make sure I'm out as much as possible because it was so cold to live there. And like trying to go like shower or something would be the worst experience because it was absolutely perishing. Yeah, that wasn't fun. So basically, like, all my living experiences as students was not the best. Although my most recent one was actually pretty good. I had a nice flat, so that was good. But yeah, so you'll see I just cluttered it up and stuff. I had fun. I made that dining space more of like a kind of study spot, which I thought looked kind of cool. Just being like all of it's a little bit grungy. And you have enough space for, obviously you saw 2 people could sleep in this double bed here, and it is functional as well. I've play tested everything. The only things, some things are not functional, like maybe a dresser or something. I've put like a shoe rack on front of it, so you technically can't use it, I don't think. Just odd bits like that, but all the main things you can use absolutely fine. So yeah, your Sims can sleep in that, and it looks kind of like a sofa bed, so I kind of like that for the student life. So you can have 2 Sims in there. I imagine that 4 Sims lived here. We have this room, we have a room next door, which is like a tiny room, which I think is really typical in houses like these. You have a really tiny box room. And then we have the room at the back has 2 twin beds in it as well, which I styled more for like, obviously anyone could live here, but I styled it in mind that there was 2 guys in these rooms and there was 2 girls in the back room. That's just what I kind of imagined. And I kind of imagined they were all like on their final years of studying. So maybe they'd lived here a couple of years, which is why it looks so like homey. Like maybe it's a long-term lease they've had. That's kind of what I imagined when I was doing it. But yeah, you'll see I'm adding just the last few final touches. So there will be screenshots in just a second as well. But thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more builds and challenges, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will speak to you all very, very soon. Oh, I should also say, because I always forget to say, it will be available on the gallery for you to download. I might forget to put it up straight away, but it'll be up in a couple hours. My ID is RibbityYT, so go check that out if you want it in your game. Okay,